Welcome back to the channel, Northbound Motorcycle ADV. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Forrest Johnson, and I ride a Royal Enfield Himalayan. And for those of you that follow the channel, well, you know it's been a while since my last video, and well, there's a reason for that. So what I thought we'd do is take a ride up the coast and see a few sights along the way and talk about what happened and kind of go from there. Thanks for riding along. So this here story I'm about to unfold actually began last year in September, the year 2022, when I was on my big trip north up to Smithers, British Columbia to see my sister Janet. Now, for those of you that follow the channel, you may remember the episode where I pulled into Calgary and had to get some service done on my bike on that big trip. And I just gotta say, I gotta give a shout out to the good folks up there at CycleWorks. They knew I was on the road. They were very accommodating and got me in and out. Didn't charge me an arm and a leg, and they did give me recommendations on things to take care of once I got home, which is what we're going to talk about on this here video. My big trip was over and I got back home to Eureka, California. I started looking into those repairs that was recommended to me by the dealership in Canada, and it turns out there was a few. I don't really need to go into detail as to what they are, but let's just say that I decided to take my motorcycle in to the dealership where I purchased my bike, thinking that they would take care of me and do the warranty work that was needed. Now, as most of you can probably tell, I absolutely love this bike. It's my first motorcycle. I've had it for 3 years now, and I've put over 25,000 miles on it. And absolutely recommend this bike to anybody. So with that said, I was thinking that the dealership would take care of me and do the warranty work and get me back on the road so that I can enjoy my bike and do the things that I like to do with it, go the places I want to go. Well, let's just say that time frames and expectations aren't always the same. So the first week in November, I rented myself a truck and loaded up my bike into the back and drove 6 hours north up into Oregon to the dealership that I bought my motorcycle from, and it gave them all the paperwork, from the dealership up in Canada. Asked them to investigate those and give me a call and we'll get it all fixed. And I was assured that based on the paperwork and those types of repairs, that it would only take a couple of weeks based on parts availability. And I totally get that, Sometimes the supply chain takes a little while, and Royal Enfield is, not as established in North America as some of the other bigger brands, and it could take a little while. So, but they gave me a date promised of November 25th. So I took it in on the first week of November, so roughly a month. Well, as you can probably guess, the month came and went, bike was still in the shop, and I hadn't heard from the dealership. So I gave them a call, and they told me on the phone that, oh yeah, everything is all done. We're just waiting on one part. It was a chain and sprocket assembly kit, and as soon as it comes in, we'll get that going and get you back on the road. Well, another 2 weeks went by and I still hadn't heard from the dealership. So I gave him a call and just wanted to look for an update, because this is my only mode of transportation. I just use it running around town and take it on long trips, and rain or shine, I absolutely love this bike, as I've said many times before. So I was pretty eager to get it back. So I managed to get the service manager on the phone and had a little talk with him. Asked for an update on those parts, and he told me flat out that once the parts are ordered, they have no way to track them once they've been shipped. He couldn't tell me if he couldn't even tell me if it had been shipped, to be honest. So he just basically told me to sit at home, wait by the phone, and when the parts come in, he'll make sure that he gets them on there and gives me a call right away. Shouldn't be too much longer. Well, it did take longer. Several months longer, actually. And by the time February, beginning of March rolled around, I was getting pretty frustrated by being told to just sit by the phone and wait for the call that someday my parts will come in and they'll fix my motorcycle. So I thought that was a bit ridiculous. So I took matters into my own hands and started calling around to see if I could find those parts on my own. So what I did is I called the dealership in Las Vegas, Nevada, and talked to the head of the parts department over there and told him my plight. And he was absolutely blown away by that. He thought that was ridiculous. He says that when people order things with him, he can call the distribution office in Texas and check on the parts and check on the availability of it. So I asked him straight up. I said, can I order these parts through you? Can you get the parts for me? And he made a quick email, checked on the availability, ordered the parts for me, and long story short, I had all the parts I needed at my home in less than 2 weeks. So with that said, I had a real interesting conversation with the dealership up in Oregon next. talked to the service manager again in the dealership up in Oregon and told him that I have all the parts that he needed, and asked him if he had the parts, how long would it take to do the job. And he informed me that it would only take a couple of hours, and that if I were to drop off the parts first thing in the morning, then it would be done in a couple hours, and I could ride my bike home 6 hours and wouldn't have to spend the night up in Oregon. So I foolishly again took him at his word. Dropped off the parts first thing in the morning and went and had breakfast. Came back at noon and they hadn't even started on the bike. So, long story short, they closed at 5 o'clock and I got my bike back at 4:45. Really appreciated that one. And then to make it worse, after I paid for it and drove away and went to the hotel that I had to now stay at, once I parked at the hotel, I noticed that the bike was leaking oil now, and it wasn't when I took it there. Yeah, just got better, didn't it? Now, I know some of you out there are probably saying, well, you should have checked that bike over before you paid for it, and, really did a thorough job and all this, and, be satisfied with the work. But to be honest with you, I was so fed up with this dealership and their total incompetence from day one that all I wanted to do was get my bike out of there and go home. I then decided to take my bike down to the dealership in Sonoma, California, which is the EuroCycle. The folks I was talking to out of Las Vegas, and see if they could do the repairs that the dealership in Oregon obviously couldn't do. Well, to my surprise, all the work that they did up in Oregon and charged me $1,114.07 for, most of that was covered under warranty, which the dealership in Sonoma did for free. Well, I sure appreciate you riding along with me while I rant about my bad experience with the dealership and then a good experience with the dealership. So, I guess the takeaway message for this is that not all dealerships are the same, and if you're not happy with one, go to another. I don't know what else to say. I'm new to this whole motorcycle thing, but I do know what good customer service is, and the dealership in Oregon does not have that. So if you like my story, or if you have a similar one of your own, leave me a comment and tell me how yours went, or maybe even a suggestion on what I should do about this dealership. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for riding along.